The Obama administration's politicized bureaucracies are trying to deceive the world once again, this time claiming, falsely, that July of 2015 was the warmest on record. In the real world, it was not even the hottest July since last year, according to the global satellite temperature record, which is considered more reliable and comprehensive than the admittedly manipulated and incomplete data relied upon by NASA and NOAA to make their latest false warmest on record pronouncements. Virtually none of the establishment press bothered to mention the caveats on the methodology behind taking the Earth's temperature, preferring instead to parrot official press releases yet again. Indeed, as has happened in virtually every instance where the National Aeronautics and Space Administration, NASA, and National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, NOAA, made a warmest on record claim, whether it be over a time span of a year or a month, the agency's own data contradict the claim. In fact, the global temperature data gathered by NASA's own satellites, the Remote Sensing Systems, RSS, dataset, along with the satellite data from the University of Alabama at Huntsville, Iowa, make a complete mockery of the latest fear-mongering, just as they did for claims made about last August and the year 2014. Better data shows July this year is the hottest since way back in 2014. It has not 4,000 years, not 135 years, it has the hottest July since the last one, noted popular Australian climate researcher and scientist Joe Nova in an analysis ridiculing the official claims and the even more outlandish media propaganda surrounding them. We only have 30 years of good climate data. The satellites tell us the pause is real, and last month's summer temperatures is not a record anything. According to the AWA and RSS global satellites, lower troposphere averages for July 2014 were 0.30 C and 0.34 C, compared to July 2015 of 0.28 C. Even June 2015 was hotter, AWA 0.35 C, RSS 0.39 C. July 2015 is not even the hottest month since June. Oops! As usual, the cascade of alarmist headlines worldwide about the allegedly record-setting July, some especially silly journalists speculated that it may have been the hottest in 4,000 years, began with the press releases from alleged scientists at the NOAA and NASA. Instead of focusing on the fact that their own satellites show that the ongoing pause in global warming has been going for more than 2 decades, or that even this June and last July were warmer than July 2015, the tax-funded alarmists cherry-picked dubious, incomplete, massaged, and in some cases invented, extrapolated, data to falsely claim a new record was set last month. The July average temperature across global land and ocean surfaces was 1.46 degrees F, 0.81 degrees C, above the 20th century average, NOAA said in its deceptive press release. As July is climatologically the warmest month for the year, this was also the all-time highest monthly temperature in the 1880-2015 record, at 61.86 degrees F, 16.61 degrees C, surpassing the previous record set in 1998 by 0.14 degrees F, 0.08 degrees C. It also claimed that land surface temperatures in July were the 6th highest on record, and that much of the alleged record was driven by warmth in the Pacific and Indian Oceans. NOAA's Global Summary Information press release did not bother to mention the powerful but natural El Niño driving ocean temperatures. Critics tore the claims apart from all angles. Using a number of fascinating graphs and images created with the U.S. government's own temperature data, independent climate analyst Stephen Goddard at Real Climate Science demolished the official claims and lambasted the criminals behind them. July was either 8th or 9th warmest since 1979, not the hottest month ever as the criminals at NOAA claim, he observed. Global warming theory demands that the lower troposphere warms faster than the surface, the exact opposite of the fraudulent claims being made by NOAA. The level of fraud on display here is off scale. July was nowhere near the hottest month. Among other data cited by Goddard is the fact that the percentage of days over 100 degrees in the United States has plummeted since the 1930s. Again, using the US government's own data, he showed that the average summer maximum temperature has also plummeted, with summer 2015 more than 4 degrees cooler than 1936. Across the United States, July was just the 51st hottest since 1895, according to US government temperature data, despite major fact errors by journalists, such as Mariano Castillo and Brandon Miller at alarmist media outlets such as CNN, who falsely claimed July was the warmest on record in the United States. Make no mistake about it, continued Goddard, a whistleblower who worked on US government contracts to create climate models and now operates websites debunking global warming alarmism and the false claims underpinning it. The people making these claims are criminals, who are generating completely fake numbers for the White House in true Orwellian fashion. The graphs he provides comparing the real data gathered by the US government and the false claims made in press releases make that abundantly clear. Other critics ridiculed the claims based on the dubious data sets used by bureaucrats to make the alarmist pronouncements in the first place. Writing in the Washington Times, International Climate Science Coalition Executive Director Tom Harris said the Obama administration was hyping meaningless records in a parameter that does not exist in order to frighten us about something that doesn't matter. He pointed out that NOAA's record claim was based on calculations that showed July 2015 to be 0.08 of a degree Celsius above July 1998. While NASA calculated that this year's July was a mere 0.02 of a degree warmer than July of 2011. But government spokespeople rarely mention the inconvenient fact that these records are being set by less than the uncertainty in the statistics, explained Harris. NOAA claims an uncertainty of 14/100ths of a degree in its temperature averages, or near twice the amount by which they say the record was set. NASA says that their data is typically accurate to 1/10 of a degree, 5 times the amount by which their new record was set. So, the new temperature records are meaningless. Neither agency knows whether a record was set. In other words, even ignoring their own satellite data and relying on the datasets and adjustments used by NOAA and NASA, the warmest on record claim is absurd based on the agency's own acknowledged margins of error. Such misrepresentations are now commonplace in NOAA and NASA announcements, Harris continued, adding that it was irrational to even try to calculate global average temperatures to hundredths of a degree, considering the fact that there is very little to no real data for the vast majority of the Earth's surface. They are regularly proclaiming monthly and yearly records set by less than the uncertainties in the measurements. Scientists within the agencies know that this is dishonest. Of course it is dishonest. And extremely misleading. In fact, the entire climate juggernaut is based on dishonesty and fraud, as countless scientists, including more than a few who have resigned from the United Nations Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, UNIPC, in disgust have made abundantly clear. The Climategate scandals, in which alarmist scientists were exposed conspiring to break the law and deceive humanity, offered even more proof. Then there is the fact that there has been no warming in 20 years, contrary to every prediction based on UN climate models. More than a few credible experts, including many who have worked for NOAA, NASA, and the UN, are now warning that a natural cycle of global cooling is the real threat and that it is coming soon. But with the UN and its revenue-hungry member governments and dictatorships meeting later this year in Paris to hammer out a planetary global warming regime to battle the essential-to-life gas CO2, humanity can expect an accelerating deluge of easily disproved climate claims from governments and media outlets in the coming months, along with demands for more cash and more government. The parasites, as critics are calling them, have invested so much taxpayer money and put so much of their credibility on the line that the man-made catastrophic warming charade must be perpetuated at all costs. On the bright side, though, it appears that much of humanity, and Americans in particular, are seeing through it all.